Hey, Michael Darmer here, the founder and CEO of The Lonely Entrepreneur. We talk all the time about, here in the United States, and I'm sure in other places as well. We said to entrepreneurs, as long as you have passion and grit and a good idea, you're good. And I think we did an incredible disservice to entrepreneurs by basically saying, as long as you have those three things, you're fine. You don't need to know anything, right? And it's almost like it was a badge of honor, almost like a superhero, right? You put the big E on your chest and you're the superhero and you're gonna go out there and just figure it out on your own without knowing anything. And the analogy I use all the time, if a friend of yours said, hey, I'm gonna do heart surgery tomorrow, you would say, oh, did you go to medical school? And they go, no, but I'm really passionate about it. And then somebody might say these cliche things you hear like, fail fast. Right? Well, what happens when you fail fast, when you're a heart surgeon and you've never done heart surgery before, right? But we almost made it a badge of honor, right, for entrepreneurs to go out there and just make mistakes and burn time and money. And it was almost romanticized, right? Like that's what we should do. So I really want to challenge us to not think about that. We say we're all lonely entrepreneurs, and we're lonely entrepreneurs because there's so much to know and so few to trust. But we're also lonely entrepreneurs because we did say to people, just let her rip, just try, just be passionate, just go, right? We said to people, essentially, you should learn by putting your hand on the stove, right? And that makes no sense. So I really want us to change our mindset that you have to go about this alone. I'm not talking about whether you use a lonely entrepreneur service or somebody else's service. The whole point is starting your own business or growing a business is incredibly complicated. And this idea that all you have to have is passion and grit and a good idea and you should just figure it out on your own, we wouldn't say that about any other profession. So I just wanted to give you some foundational things that if you're thinking about starting a business, or maybe if you already have a business, these are things that you either should have, and if you don't have, you need to have, right? So number one, what is your personal goal? What are you personally trying to get out of it? And that really, really matters, right? Number two is, what is the business goal, right? And let me give you an example. There's a really big difference between starting one pizza stand and starting Domino's. Completely different approaches, completely different plans, right? So you need a personal goal, you need a business goal. Third is you need a financial plan. I don't care if you scratch your financial plan on a napkin, right? But you need projections of revenue and expenses, ideally for 3 years, because that's gonna be your roadmap of, okay, how much money do I need, right? What are my expenses? What are my revenue? And a lot of times people will say, but wait a minute, I don't know. Nobody ever knows, right? When you start, you got to make your best guess and be conservative, but you need a plan. So you say to yourself, this is what I'm trying to do. Without a plan, you're saying, oh, I'm going from, I don't know, New York to California. Well, how am I going to go? I don't know. You might end up there. You're going to burn a lot of gas, okay? So personal goal, business goal, financial plan. And then the fourth, and maybe the most important, right? They're all important, but maybe the most important is your go-to-market strategy, right? And most specifically, what we call finding a playground where nobody else is playing. The world is such a cluttered world these days, and with AI, it's getting even more and more cluttered, right? For those of you who know, we just launched a book called The Entrepreneur Survival Guide, How to Survive in a World of AI, right? You have to find a playground where nobody else is playing. And what I mean by that is, if you're just trying to compare product A to product B, you've already lost. Finding a playground means that you're selling apples and everybody else is selling oranges. In my old business, rewarding people for being healthy, where I had my success prior to Lonely Entrepreneur, was there were lots and lots of reward programs, and they were run by some of the biggest companies in the world, by Visa, MasterCard, American Express. All we did was apply to healthcare, and that became our playground, right? You have to try to find your playground where you're selling apples and everybody else is selling oranges. So you need a personal goal, you need a business goal, you need a financial plan, you need to go to market, right? And your playground, and then you create your priorities, right? Out of those four things. And everybody says, well, everything is my priority. That's not true. Certain things are just more important than other things, and you have to set those priorities, and you really shouldn't have any more than three. So if you're gonna create one pizza stand, right, versus Domino's, right? If you're gonna create Domino's, one of your priorities is probably to raise money, right? That would be very different from starting one pizza stand. So the point is, let's get over this idea that we have to learn by putting our hand on the stove. If you hear others, right, encourage them to find others, whether it's the Lonely Entrepreneur or others out there who can help there and can have been there and done that. And let's no longer say that it's okay, a badge of honor, right? To go play in traffic, get hit by a bus and say, well, it doesn't kill me, make me stronger. So if there's anything we can do with the Lonely Entrepreneur, for those of you who know the Lonely Entrepreneur, we've got lots of products and services. We've got a learning community for early stage entrepreneurs, the first one-stop shop for entrepreneurs. For those that are, over 5 million, we've got a one-on-one consulting practice we call Sidekick. Every CEO needs a sidekick to help you through the journey. But as always, you can find us here on YouTube or in other channels. And if there's anything we can do to help, please don't ever hesitate to reach out. Thank you.